Okay, so hello and welcome to the next episode of Cyber Potato, where I'll be teaching you about the basics of ReactJS. So, to start working with React, we must firstly install a little bit of stuff. So what I mean by that is we have to go to the Node.js website, and here you should download the Node.js engine. You can choose the latest features, so it should be a 12.2 version, and then make sure that the node and the npm, which is installed alongside, is available in your path. It should be. It certainly should be, but if it's not, you should add it to your environmental variables. So you can confirm that the node and npm is installed properly by typing in the terminal node .v. It should give you the installed version of Node. As you can tell, mine isn't the latest. Okay, and also the npm should be there. By the way, this is Alacrity terminal, but if you're using Git Bash, you should be fine too. I don't recommend the standard command prompt. I don't even feel good about PowerShell, but Alacrity should be good. Okay. So what next? Oh, also you'll see me using Yarn. Mostly because I like it, because I feel good with it, because it has workspaces, because it's faster, but you can do just fine with npm. It's up to you. If you'd like to install Yarn, you can just download the installer or install it on Windows using Chocolatey. Okay, that's that. So how to actually start the React app? When I was starting with React, the problem was there was a lot of configuration you had to do on your own. Set up the front-end build tool like Webpack, for example, or Gulp. You had to add the Babel transpiler to transpile JSX and ES6 into ES5 for your browsers, setting up stuff like SAS compiler and so forth and so on. And you can do it by yourself, and it's daunting task, but you can learn a lot about what is going on under the hood. And I recommend checking out Webpack tool, because it's pretty much standard nowadays in the industry. Also, if you don't know where to start with Webpack, there's this fantastic site called Webpack Academy, I believe it is. Yes. And there's one, the core concept and web fundamentals is free of charge. These courses are totally for free, thanks to the fantastic Shen. So you can check it out and understand how it works. But I won't be doing that. Facebook recognized the need of easing up the daunting task of setup for React, and they created something called Create React App. And this package bootstraps the React app for you. It sets up the Webpack, the bubble, TypeScript, compiling SAS, whatever you'd like, actually. And it comes with lots of configuration and options. And I'll be using that in the most of my tutorials, in all of my React tutorials, because I'm not really interested in configuration part of development, okay? And that's why this package was created, okay? So as we can see, you can use yarn or npm to bootstrap our application. So let me just move to the place where I keep my projects. Okay, you're here. And then, as you can see, I can just type yarn create React app. And what we'll be creating here to learn ourselves about the core concept of React is a simple card game. Okay, let's just do enter. And you can see that it's being fetched, it creates everything. It downloads the basic packages that you need. It can take a while, but, oh, sorry, but please be patient. Okay, also maybe just let me, okay. So yeah, it downloads a lot. So how was your day? Mine was good. I had salmon. I saw a little dog, but it was too far away to pet it, so that's a pity. I read a book. Yeah. Okay, we're almost done. Are we? Yeah, we are. Okay, so we can go inside CardGame. Okay, and we can open code, Visual Studio Code here. And we're in. Are we? No. No, we're not. It's the card game. Okay. No, it's code that. Okay, yeah, and we're good. Okay, so this is your project created. And let me start from, can I bump it up? I should bump it up. Okay, yeah, now we're fine. Let me start from the top. Here is the folder called Node Modules. And as you can tell, there's a lot in it. And why is that? Well, we are using npm and node modules. And node modules are just packages created by someone else and stored into global npm repository, and you can download those packages and use in your project. The problem is that this is kind of like tree structure. So the one package can depend on another 5 packages, and each and single one of these is dependent on other packages. And you have to grab them all and download to your project to make use of that one library that you're interested in. Okay? And these are the node modules. These are the modules that you've downloaded to use libraries like React in your project. Okay, public. Well, the only interesting thing here for the moment is index.html, and this is, the index.html. You don't modify it really. Very, very rarely. But it has div.id root that will be interesting to us. Okay. Then you have src, so sources folder, and this is the place where your application actually lives. Okay. Then you have git ignore, which is for your version control management, so which files should be ignored. As you can see, and what is very important, there is node modules entry here, because obviously you don't want to store all those packages in your repository on GitHub. So every single time that you feel that, well, I don't want to add this kind of file or this folder into repository, you should add it here to ignore it for GitHub. This is rather important. Package.json. Nowadays, mostly all front-end projects are built using NPM and Node. And you can think of package.json kind of like of manifest of your application and also the control center of your application. Here you have the name of your project, the version of it, or whether is it private or public, and very important entry, dependencies. Every single time that we'd like to say that our app is dependent, is using another library or npm module to be specific, we have to list it here. Okay. Then there are scripts, and the scripts are npm scripts that the developer can use. Mainly we are interested in the start script for the very beginning, because this is the script that will start our development server. The ESLint config. We will be using ESLint. You should go to your extensions, and then find ESLint and install it. Okay. Also, I recommend that you install stuff like Prettier, and we can make use of React snippets authored by Desut. Yeah, they seem cool. Okay, so a few extensions there. What else? Browser list. Yeah. So this is the list of the browsers that are supported for your project. And here we say that we are supporting in production the browsers that have 0.2% of market share, that are not dead, like drop EA6 already, it's dead, it's already dead, and are not Opera Mini. Okay, so you'll see this grow, and you'll see us adding stuff here as we go. Now into the React itself, or let me just maybe start it. Okay, I will do just to start our project after we bootstrapped it with create React app. I can type yarn start. Alternatively, I could do npm run npm start. Should be working too. Yeah, 2 would be working, but I don't want it. And it will after some time, give it a chance. Yeah, it's starting the development server, and we have it. Okay, ta-da, our first React app. Not much to it, but it has a link to ReactJS documentation, and I can tell that the documentation is really good for React, you can find almost everything that you need. And the maintainers did really good job of building the documentation. Okay, into the React itself. The whole application is starting point is index.js. And here we're making use of imports and exports for the modules to build our app. And it's good. It's really, really great because using ES6 modules, we can separate everything in logical parts. But as you can tell, there are two kinds of imports here. The one when we provide the name of the package listed in package.json, okay, so something from the dependencies, or the package where we are specifying the local path, okay? So this is importing the packages that we installed in our node modules. And this is importing our own modules that we are creating to develop our app, okay? So we don't really need the service worker, it's not important here. Here we are just importing some CSS, so if I comment that out, that's not really what I want. Just do this. Okay, now it should be good. Oh yeah. Okay, so if I comment that out, I can see that the font is different and that I have those margins here. Okay, so I can import CSS just fine and it will work. Yeah, it will definitely work. Okay, what else? Oh, so when we are using the React, React is really just a concept of building UI. Mainly, it's a concept of representing your UI as a function of your state. As a function of state. And what I mean that it's mainly a concept is React doesn't really care about underlying layer to which you render your app. You can render to DOM to make the web applications. You can render to native mobile components with React Native to build the mobile apps. You can render to stuff like Word, Sketch. You can even now, I think, render to Windows components to use React to build the desktop apps. Okay, so that's why here we are specifying that we want to build the web application with React DOM and render the app component into document element that has ID of root, and this can be found actually in our index.html. Okay, so this is the place where React comes to play and start rendering components. Okay, let us check this out. So this is a functional component. Okay, every single time that you'd like to use this syntax, I mean JSX, you have to import React. Okay, so let me start our application by of course you have the hot reload. So if I change it to hello React, okay, can see that I didn't need to refresh my browser. It's auto refreshing, so that's cool. Let me start by deleting everything. Okay, we don't need that. Okay, so this isn't really the tutorial about what is a component, how to start with React, and so forth, so on. No, I assume that you have some basic knowledge about React, and I'll show you how to build your first application. It will be rather easy. So there are some things that I'd like to add to my app. One of which is styling. As you can already tell, we can style the app just fine by using CSS files and simply importing it, okay? But I tend to use a package called style components that lets you use the components to style your elements. As you can see, you can create a button using styled and then specifying the HTML tag, and then specifying the CSS entries. Oh. What is cool is that style component, for example, can accept some props that will change how it works. Okay, so I can pass a primary prop here. I can pass a primary prop, and this will change the behavior of my style component. Okay, so I would like to add a package, and I know that it's called style components because how do I know it? When in doubt, use documentation. Installation here. Now we have it. Okay. There's mostly always the installation section in your documentation. Okay, and I will add it with yarn add style components. Give it a second. And we have it done. Okay. So to build my first style component, I will create, let's call it, I don't know, layout.components.js. And here I will create two basic components. I will import from style components to use the style components, and I will say layout is actually styled div, and it has this it has display of flex. Everything will be centered. So as you can see, I'm just typing the standard CSS properties here, and I will export it, and I will build a header equals style header, and I'd like some stuff here, which is width of 100%, text align, center, background color is gonna be green, font size 24 pixels, font weight is gonna be bold, color is gonna be white, okay, white smoke, work with that, and padding of 16 pixels and 0. Okay, and now let me add something else just to explain something to you. I can also export default Okay, for example, let's say that I can do const red square or this is embarrassing. Red rectangle. Oh yeah, it's gonna be style div. There's always a solution if you don't know the word. Background color is gonna be red, width gonna be 100 pixels, and height is gonna be 100 pixels. Okay, and I will say export default red rectangle. Okay, so every single file while building your application can be ES6 module. And these have two types of exports. Named export, when you're just saying export something something. So these are named because they don't have default after export keyword. And this is default. And as name suggests, this is like the most important thing that you're exporting from here. But it is optional. You don't have to do export default. You can just do these. These are called named exports. Okay? And there's a big difference when you're trying to use that in another module. So in our app, I would like to import layout, header, and red rectangle. Okay? Let me start with importing the layout and header. Okay? To import something that doesn't have default after export, so it's again named export, I do import curly braces from it is layout components, and here I have to specify the correct one-to-one names that I've used here. Okay, so I have to say layout, and I can see that auto suggestion is triggering in and helping me, and header. If I try to import red rectangle here, I can see that I don't have any suggestions because it's not named import, it's default import. Okay? So how do you use default import? If I would like to add the red rectangle here, I would say red rectangle. And this will import this stuff, the stuff that I marked as export default. Okay, but because it's a default import, I don't have to worry about the name. I can call it XXX, and if I will say XXX here, it should work, but it doesn't. This is embarrassing. Oh yeah, the React components have to start with upper letter. Okay. Let's try that. Okay, so I imported this. Here it's named red rectangle. Here it can be whatever I want. Okay, it doesn't matter because it is default export and import. Okay, and now if I would like also to bring the layout and header components, here I have to be careful about the names because they have to match one-to-one to what I specified here. And what is the policy here? Well, if it makes sense to create export default because something is a main feature of given module, then sure. But if you're fine with using the named exports pretty much everywhere, I don't feel that the red rectangle here is much more important than the other style components, or I don't feel that the layout is more important than the header. You can just use the name export. So, common sense here. Okay, we don't need that actually. We will render the header. And we can auto close it, and we will render a layout and specify a child here. Hello. Okay. Oh, I can also specify something inside of it, because remember, underneath it is just a standard HTML tag. So this is a card game. Okay, and let's save it. Okay. Oh, that was long. So I believe this is the good moment to stop this episode, and I'll see you in the next one.